So today I have a bit of time to work on the Pali Notes app. Last time I came up with the PID, and since then I haven't really done anything on this app, but I've been using Cursor at work. I found generating a PID and a feature list along with using cursor rules to be really effective and productivity boosting. So let's continue, and I want to start making the feature list. The first thing I'll do is ask ChatGPT to give me a template and just some guidance. Could you please give me a template for a feature list I want to put in a markdown file so that I can refer to it in the Cursor IDE? It's very good, but it's super high level. Like each feature seems to be just one dot point, which is all right, but I reckon we're going to have to get a bit more specific. So let's see what Cursor thinks, because I have some of my own ideas, but I just want to see what it reckons. Yeah, so that looks good for a start. However, each feature is only 1 point. So wouldn't it be better for Cursor to be aware of more context for each feature so it stays on track and it knows specifically what we want? So are we able to expand on each feature? You don't have to give me every feature, but then just give me like 3 features and have it expanded. All right, so let's see how we go. Yeah, the thing is it keeps saying you're exactly right all the time, and I'm growing a bit skeptical these days. What if we had an acceptance criteria and incorporated BDD into each feature? Okay, it looks like we're making a bit of progress. I do want some specific scenarios when we specify features. If I want to specify test cases, they probably go within features as different scenarios. Let me just check. How do test cases relate to this feature list and the way we're presenting scenarios with BDD? Will test cases map to the scenarios, or are they separate? Cool. So there's an example here. Sign up with email on the sign up page. I enter that email and password I set in the form. Then there's one scenario and there seems to be 5 test cases in here. Okay, that's fine. I think I'm just going to come up with a feature list. I want to incorporate BD into it because I think the task straight after this that I intended to do was to come up with test cases to cover the existing functionality before we start building new features and going crazy with that, just to make sure that we're not breaking existing functionality and we can be a bit more confident that Cursor's not breaking it as well, because the code is going to proliferate way quicker than usual. So let's just start and see where we end up. I'm going to paste in the PID I made last time and see what it thinks, and it can grab any features from here. Use this as inspiration to come up with features. Please feel free to group features logically. Okay. We won't do the BDD thing yet. We'll get it from a high level, and after that we'll specify the scenarios, I think, so that it's easier to get a bird's eye view and just an outline rather than jumping straight into the details and having the document too bloated that it's harder to get the high level outline. Okay, that's cool. Okay, authentication and access. So users can sign in via email and password. Yep. Users can log in via Google via OAuth. Okay. Email verification is required before using the app. A role-based access. Do we want to care about that? And the difference between users and admins at this stage would be, not even at this stage, for the next iteration, I don't think there's going to be any admin functionality. The admins would be eventually able to edit the cards. Say if there's a mistake in one of these cards or an improvement, the admin can log in and edit it. I guess that they can also manage the users, see who's on which plan, and in the future grant access to decks when we have more decks, because I want to make this extendable to multiple languages, and we might even have multiple decks within a language. Do we want to do that now? I know it wasn't really on the PID. The main reason for doing user accounts now is so that we can store favorites and also study history. So perhaps put admin accounts in a bonus section. However, if it's easy to implement in one go, then we'll just do it. Cool, let's keep talking. Yeah, so what does this mean? Search across all fields, word definition example. I don't actually know what that means, so maybe take that out. Yeah, highlighting matching search terms in search results already works. The toggle case sensitivity I don't really know what that's about. View full flashcard details on click. We already have that kind of thing, though it's not beautiful. So most of the flashcard, the stuff under flashcard search and view, take that out. And okay, but what's on the chapter and grammar view was the thing I was thinking of. View all words from a selected chapter. Yep. Group words by grammar type within chapters. Yeah, we need to reword that too. It's not group words by grammar type, but are we able to view? I specifically want to be able to view grammatical terms, view grammar terms. Yeah, I want to be able to access the grammar terms without explicitly searching for them. So with a type of menu or some buttons kind of thing. Don't worry about quick navigation between chapters. Cool. The favorites in progress, that's good. Mark unmarked words as favorite, view favorited words in one place. Favorite state is saved per user, that's very good. Where is the study session? Is that not? Yep, so spaced repetition in study should be in the feature list. Users have the option to study cards. Users have the options to set the number of cards they want to study every day, the number of cards they want to review every day, and they also want to be able to set what they study. Is it all the cards or is it just a subset of the cards? At first, let's give them the option to study from individual chapters in addition to all the cards, and also an option to take out the grammatical terms. Cool. And they also have the option to get prompted on the Devanagari and transliteration or on the definition, right? Or both. That does it for studying. Yep, so I need to figure out a way to order the search results. That's one thing. I need a way to handle the cases when a user's input returns too many search results, because it's not practical. If you search for something and you get 200 results, that's no good, because no one's practically going to look through all of them. So something needs to be done about that. Not sure yet, but it could involve maybe putting a kind of message or giving them options to narrow it down, or suggesting that they do the full word match, which often narrows things down quite a bit. Cool. Everything looks pretty good, but we need to figure out a way to make these, what were originally tags, beautified and more user-friendly. Like NN is not satisfactory from a user point of view, neither is GT. We need to know what those mean, and I suspect they're going to double up. Some of them are going to be redundant because they'll just be exactly what is displayed in the grammatical details. NN just means neuter noun, GT means grammatical terms, so we need to sort out that presentation. And yeah, cool. What else? Okay, so the next bit is to do with subscriptions and tiers. So Stripe integration for monthly, yearly plans. I'd also like us to be feature toggled. So say you wake up one morning, then you just want to take, how does that work? Because if someone pays for it, then you can't really just take off the payment the next day for future users, because it's unfair. So what do we do about the payments? I reckon at a very minimum, implement the functionality for subscriptions and tiers. So let's just say 3 tiers, each with different features. Yep. And I want to feature flag this whole thing on or off, because we might decide not to have those tiers for now and keep it all for free. I'm not too sure yet, but then have it so it's ready to turn on. And yeah, that's cool. And another thing we need to do is we're going to need to come up with tests for the existing functionality, especially what's getting returned via the card search API, because I iterated on that many times to get it working, and as I was using it to search up words, I noticed, there's a bug here, there's a bug there, this is not working, or that's not highlighting as well. Yeah, I think we want tests for highlighting, which might be a bit trickier, because yeah, we need to figure out how to do that, but with different inputs, the words are going to be highlighted in a different way. And also with just the words being returned in the first place also need to be tested. So there's 2 types of testing that we need to do. In addition to that, I want to try automate full end-to-end testing, because I always use Playwright at work. So we'll try, from the time we start deving this, we'll try get Cursor to implement end-to-end tests as well as unit tests and component tests, which I really want to learn more about. Just thinking out loud, I think that's pretty good. Let's see what it comes up with now, because that's pretty much it, and it's a pretty good place to start, I think, from the top of my head, but I do want to go back onto Jira, which is this board, to go through the things we've already done. There's 37 items that are in done, and so perhaps with these tickets we can come up with test cases as well. So let's use this to come up with a more specific and detailed and accurate feature list. For now, just don't include the BDD. Alright, let's go through this iteration one more time and give it comments on what it just provided me. Sign up with Google and password, fine. Save favorites and study history per user, good. Can you specifically say the study history, it includes, it's not only study history, but it's how many new cards they want to see, how many old cards they want to see every day, and the study history and basically the due date of all the cards. So new cards, old review cards, and due date of all the cards. That's good that role-based access is optional in future. I would also say select from multiple decks, and multiple decks within a language is also optional in future, as well as remember last selected deck per user. View all words from selected chapter is good. Filter words in a chapter by grammar category. Don't say filter words in a chapter by grammar category, just filter in general by grammar category would be good. And that would be achieved by using the UI buttons. And like key grammar terms, we need a way to search to access them without explicitly searching. So just give a few examples there. It'd just be like all the cases. One example would be all the cases and maybe the conjugations. So grammatical terms relating to nouns, verbs, pretty much. Those look pretty good. I would say next to highlight and match terms in search results, I would say that's already working. So in brackets, say, make sure there's test coverage for that. Same with diacritic sensitivity. Same for partial or exact matches. That's already meant to be implemented. But so those will be like testing tickets. Those sound like, those are quite priority to test those, because those are the things that could break by implementing all this other stuff. I wouldn't say limit or paginate, but just say figure out how to handle, because I'm not sure how to do that yet, how I want to do that. And improve the tag presentation. That's right. Good. Very good. So favorites, mark or mark words as favorites, view all favorites in one place, persist favorites to the user account, that is perfect. And study mode, study flashcards using spaced repetition, good, very good, very good. And this is not the question type, but then choose. So for each note, we're going to assume there's two types of cards now, the cards where there's the Pāḷi on the front, English on the back. But then there's also going to be a card where there's English on the front and Pāḷi on the back. Option to use both card types, either card types or both, instead of choose question type. Stripe integration for monthly and yearly plans. I'm not sure whether I should be muting myself or my mic when I'm reading it out to myself, because it's not really useful. But anyway, is there anything else we should feature flag? Not really. Cool. Perhaps we should be able to feature flag authentication as well. So one day we're like, nah, let's just let everyone log in for free, who cares? Now, I don't think we're going to realistically do that then, so scrap that. We should not feature flag authentication. Cool. Alright, so the testing, which is cool that we're covering it now as well. Unit tests for key backend logic. The card highlighting isn't backend logic really, so separate that out. One is search result filtering, and the other testing is for card highlighting, but the card highlighting is like a front-end thing, in my opinion. There are end-to-end tests, cool. Component tests for UI behavior, that's cool. Now, far out. It's so handy for it to do all like the formatting and boring stuff. Cool. Very cool. So just check again. Cool. I think we're doing pretty well. Now I'm just going to go quickly over the Jira board and see if there's anything inspirational to add. So ensure backends are backed up easy, it's fine. Rough sketches, front ends not receiving response bugs. What's this? That's right. Alright, so here we're going to start talking about some of the test cases, because these are some of the bugs I fixed in the past and I want to make sure that they stay fixed. So we're referring to ticket PN-17, and there are certain inputs on this ticket where before, when I was typing them in, the result would be very ugly. It would have the HTML formatting in it. So The test is going to have to put these in as inputs and verify that this ugly formatting doesn't appear on the front end. That's one. That's cool. When we search for stuff with the HTML, when we search for strings that appear in the HTML formatting, we don't want those to be considered in the search results. So before, when I was searching for FO, since all the formatted cards have font in them, they would also appear. So that's no good. I've handled that, but we need to test it. We need to automatically test it. That's ticket PN42. There's another ticket where it's saying highlighting doesn't work when the query contains diacritics. So for our inputs, make sure we have examples where the inputs have diacritics as well as no diacritics. That's for ticket PN52. Yeah, I wish I knew what inputs were causing these, but I did fix it. Would have been better to have those in the screenshot, then I would know what inputs were causing this. But for now, I'm just going to say that the results returned should, this is in the transliteration field, it should never have hashtag name in it. I'm pretty sure that was just corrupted data and it was happening before we put it in the database. Speaking of database, I just remembered a few more features we needed to do. So I'll talk about it now, just so it remembers to incorporate it. So for databases, we need to do proper database migrations because this was a very hacky POC and I haven't implemented database migrations yet. And the way that the backend is talking to the database, it's via direct SQL as well, but I want to implement some database models to access it using an ORM. So please add those into the feature list. Interesting. When we do a long click to copy and paste, like when you're highlighting text and then you take your mouse off, that would cause the modal that enlarges which shows an enlarged view of the note to appear. However, we don't want that to happen. Cool, I think that's pretty good for now. So please make those changes for me. Cool. Yep, so this is, I reckon, a feature list to start vibe coding with. Let's start prioritizing some of these things so that next time when I sit down and do a sesh, it's a bit easier to start, right? So I know what I should be starting on. So I think the first thing should be just configuring testing so that we can do these regression tests. So that should come at the top, which is cool. Now, after that, I want to improve the database and backend architecture to, do what it says. It makes sense. So that comes second. After that, I want to mock up the authentication flow. I want to mock the UIs first. So I want to mock the authentication flows. Then I think I want to mock the stuff on the deck and grammars. Basically mock everything. Mock favorites, then mock study mode, just to get a sense of how it's going to look after it's all hooked up. Then go back and implement the backend for them. Study modes and favorites have the auth as a dependency. So really it just makes sense to, I reckon, tackle deck and grammar first, because that'll be a quick win for the current users. And I know my mum regularly uses this. Okay, so let's start again actually. Should we do the tests first? I reckon, we've got to do the tests first, even because it might break stuff. I was a bit tempted to go and do the deck and grammar first, because I know the users would benefit from this new feature. But so testing first, and then, alright, fine. Testing first, then deck and grammar first, because the users will notice it right away. And then we go and improve the backend database and the backend stuff. Then we're going to mock everything, authentication, then favorites and study mode. Then in that same order, we're going to then integrate the back and do the backend for authentication, favorites and study mode, and then we're going to connect the front and the backend. Let's try that. So what do I actually want? I want you to provide me a feature list again, which is reordered in the order I said, and also a high-level prioritization list. Very cool. Cool. So after this, I reckon we're ready to start coding. So now I'm going to copy this into a new Markdown file, and next time we'll start implementing those features, starting with testing. So we kept it under 1 hour. That was a demo of how to use AI ChatGPT to get the feature list. We're planning the app a lot. And then in the next video, code is going to start getting generated, which is pretty exciting. But I think it's very important to do the planning up front, because the code is going to get generated very quick and we need to be clear about what we're trying to do, what's important, and the sort of constraints. Otherwise, we're going to go down rabbit holes we don't want to go down. So anyway, hope that was useful. I'll catch you guys on the flip side. If you watched all the way to the end, thanks for watching. I'll catch you next time, and have a good night.